Leadership and Yoga fam. I am screaming with excitement to introduce you to today's guests, Ness and Rama, my favorite yoga duo. And Ness and Rama are both Canadian born yoga instructors joining us live from Ko Samui, Thailand. And Ness, better known as Inversioness on Instagram, is a friend of mine and somebody that I've looked up to for a really long time. If you have been a listener of the podcast for a while, you'll know that I have two other interviews with her. So I will be sure to link those in the show notes as well, so you can go back and hear a bit more about her. But she is a yoga teacher, movement specialist, digital creator celebrated for her inspiring inversion and mobility content. She shares tutorials, workshops, retreats, and online classes in her app for the Beans Club. Are you part of the club? You should be part of the club if you're not part of the club. But in addition to teaching things like pincha, handstands, back bends, and creative sequencing, she inspires us all to have empowering practice habits. And she builds community among movers on the online world. And even ChatGPT knows, and I quote, she affectionately calls her audience beans. Daniel Rama is a globally renowned yoga teacher known for blending classical yoga with modern movement. His journey to yoga teaching began when he had a devastating powerlifting accident when he was 19, which crushed several bones in his left foot. And doctors told him that he might not ever run again. But through dedicated practice to yoga and to meditation, to pranayama, to all of it, he not only regained mobility, but he rediscovered humility, strength, and purpose along the way. He later traveled to an ashram in the Bahamas, where he had over 2 years of immersion and service, and where he adopted the name Daniel Rama and became a certified yoga teacher. Today, Rama leads a global teaching practice, delivering workshops and retreats and yoga teacher training courses, while also running an online platform called Becoming Balance Studio. Before we get into the show, if you are listening to this right now, I have a genuine ask for you. If you could take a moment to please drop me a rating for my podcast. And I know it's super annoying to ask you to please subscribe and to please share this episode on social or with somebody else, another teacher friend of yours. But truly, it means the world to me if you're able to do that and support in this way, because that is exactly the momentum that brings us the opportunity to have interviews with folks like Ness and Rama. So I ask you to please take a moment to do that. And I send you a big hug and pat on the back and a thank you for supporting in that way. All right, let's get into the episode. Welcome to the Leadership and Yoga podcast, hosted by me, Shauna Kruger. And on this podcast, I'll be bringing you interviews with exceptional leaders in the yoga world alongside trainings and tips so you can experience true breakthroughs and help others do the same. Ness and Rama, welcome to the Leadership and Yoga podcast. I'm super excited to have y'all here. Y'all are one of my favorite yoga couples and just people in general, so it's really fun to see you both in this space together. And there are so many things that I want to ask you, and if you're tuning in and you're listening, just to kind of give you an idea of what you'll get to hear today, we're going to hear a bit of behind the scenes from Ness and Rama, and then we're also going to talk about teaching, we're going to talk about content creation, and all of that good stuff too. But first and foremost, you guys are from nearly the same place, right? You almost share a hometown, is that right?
Correct.
Yeah. So, but it took moving across the world and following your yoga journey for years to eventually meet on a tiny island. I mean, what are the chances? What do y'all think about that?
I think we've said a bunch of times that if it had happened any time before then, it probably wouldn't have made sense. So, seems crazy, but also perfect timing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd followed each other for a little while online, and I think there was a couple occasions where I'd sent a message and I was like, hey, I'm back in Canada, maybe we should do some sort of flow or something like that. And it never panned out. But like Ness said, the timing with our meeting, our meet cute, I think is what you used to describe it. It was perfect. It was divine. You know, things just kind of aligned so that we could both be in a space where we're ready to take this leap into new territory, moving across the world. Not an easy thing, but the fact that we can be here in this foreign country and still make jokes, references that apply to our hometown, and somebody else gets these jokes, it's lovely.
Yes. Oh, I can imagine. Yeah. When you guys met, did you feel like, and I'll ask each of you this, but did you feel like who you saw on the Instagram yogi online world matched what you met in person?
You get to go first.
Yeah, I think for me, pretty much perfectly. I don't know. I definitely knew that you were cute and quirky. But I remember you rolling in, you have like a nice dress on, you look very sweet and petite and like you could never harm a fly. And that's the impression that I got from your social media. So it very much checked out. But I do think, even though you are quite a photogenic being, I was still breathless in person.
So sweet.
I love it.
Well, I didn't know what to expect based off of social media. And so I was like, what is he going to be like? And then I walked up the stairs and he spoke and I was like, that is not anything that I imagined and it's perfect. Not because what was on social media was like not great by any means, but you have a good teaching voice.
Yes.
And you present yourself on social media as a teacher. And so I just wasn't expecting the very like sweet and quirky in and of himself that he is. And you could hear it like within like, again, the first like sentence that he spoke, I was like, oh.
Yeah, I feel like I've gotten more of a behind the scenes look at who you are, Rama, just watching Ness's stories too and seeing you singing. And I feel like you have many different voices. Would you agree? Like you have
Yes.
different teaching voices. You have many of them that you can just
Well,
tap into.
As I'm sure you know, when we do this kind of work, we need to have different hats. So many different hats that we put on for the different types of things. And I think I have different voices as well for certain situations. So like Ness said, there's a teaching voice, there's a serious voice, there's a silly voice. There's a lot of different
There's a
accents.
podcasting voice,
I think probably I have a podcasting voice. Yeah.
or it's in develop. Yeah. What would you say that just in what folks are able to see from you, you know, people who haven't maybe yet come to train with you guys or meet you guys, practice with you in person, what's something that people don't usually know about you two? And this can be in general. What are we not maybe picking up on? What's some little piece of the essence of something that's important to you? I know that's a broad question.
Well, we said one of them already. I feel like people are always quite shocked that we met on the island, even though we grew up, you know, less than an hour away from one another, in towns that are quite close. Like lots of people from his town and my town would like know each other and hang out. So it's, and we're only a year apart in age. So that's always a surprising one that's where we met.
Yeah.
But I think Rama probably has some that are more like individual based off of, you know, what people might come to expect when they come to programs versus what they get.
Well, just from the feedback anyhow, is that it's a good dynamic. The male-female dynamic that we have, I think, is very conducive to the act of learning, because it's not necessary that we have the same opinion all the time. We kind of roll in, and I will start by saying, if it's an inversion workshop, I'm not a fan of pincha. And then Ness will chime in and give her piece on why she loves pincha. And so
Pincha
when you come to these
queen.
programs, you get to have a kind of beautiful, cohesive discussion that's not necessarily saying this is the right way and the only way. But I think that we're able to cover a lot of ground based on our own perspectives.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And I suppose programming-wise, the main piece of feedback is people don't expect it to focus so much on basic preparation. Like people are usually scared to come to some of our programs, but they need not feel that way because we go through everything from scratch.
I love that. It gives me so much peace, especially as someone that I don't know if you know this, Rama, but I've told Ness this 100 times that I was following Ness and watching Ness do crazy pincha and handstands and all this before I could hold a handstand in the middle of the room at all. We have to start from somewhere. So it's really refreshing to me when I hear that from people like you who y'all are inspiring us to dream and to try these things and to keep teaching and to advance our practice. So it's wonderful to understand that we get that starting point and that we can actually really progress in that way and not have to be caught up in the intimidation factor of it all.
Yeah.
Job of making things feel accessible.
Thanks.
And also like it doesn't matter really if somebody can do a pincha or a handstand or any of those skills.
Yeah, I mean, I know we're talking about things that other people might be surprised by, but I think I'm more surprised by, everything outside of the physical goals that people are, obtaining or, experiencing throughout the, what seems like a very physical based retreat.
So before we get into a bit more about your background teaching Rama, Ness, the last time that we spoke, we were talking about the ability to dream and really learning how to dream and I don't know, to change your reality entirely. And so I wanted to check in and ask you, and if you're a listener, by the way, you can go back and you can listen to two prior episodes that I have with Ness that are wonderful. But Ness, do you feel settled in on the island? I mean, is it feeling dreamlike? Is it feeling odd? Is it feeling weird? Like home? Give us the tea.
Yeah, it feels like home. Always feels like a dream, even though it feels like home. But no, settling in has been really lovely. It's been interesting because, of course, I moved like officially was moving here in January, but we've spent a fair amount of time not here this year. So yeah, settled, but we keep bopping around. So the times that we have been here have been very precious. That's for sure, because it does feel like home, and it's definitely where I want to be spending most of the time.
Mm.
It's so sweet to watch you guys in the little jungle house too, and I know that it's really fun and it's also really crazy. Like you had a lizard in your kitchen and then realized that there was a hole to the outside through which the lizard was entering. Um, but I guess could you ever have imagined this? I mean, was this yeah, when we spoke last, it was almost a year ago, Ness, that we spoke and that I interviewed you. I guess we've spoken many times between then, but since we
I know what
spoke
you
on the
mean.
podcast, I mean, but could you ever have imagined this? I mean,
No, most definitely not. I mean, it is like it still feels like a dream. So I definitely don't think that as I spoke in the previous podcast that I was like, thinking or dreaming of anything like this being the case. But I mean, even like on a sillier note, but like if you had told Ness a couple of years ago that she'd be living with lizards and spiders and things like that, no, she would not have believed you.
The spiders are a good one for me. Like sometimes you're afraid to walk into the shower and I need to go like rummage around in there to make sure there's no little
I learned
long-legged.
the other day that they're huntsmen. I'm sorry. I didn't think that those were here, and I didn't need that
those are the
information.
giant ones that I see on TikTok
Well,
from
they're like
Australia.
they're babies here, like they're much smaller, but still I didn't need to know that.
Oh,
But then somebody else, one of our friends told us that the spiders that live inside your house are not the poisonous ones. And you know what? I don't know what fact that comes from, but I'll take it.
They're definitely really friendly though. And when I tell them that you're not supposed to be in this shower because she doesn't want you in the shower, then they go out of the shower, and it's good.
I'm
We seem
assuming,
to
Rama,
have an
that
agreement.
you've lived in a lot of places around the world and you've probably seen a lot of big tropical spiders, if I'm assuming right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I've lived in a tent in the Bahamas on the beach for a couple of years. I've lived in India. And this is honestly plush, I suppose.
So how did
It
you
is,
take
despite what I'm saying, it is like it's so perfect and feeling incredible privilege.
And at the same time, it's funny that there are spiders because life is always like, we just got to give you that next little discomfort, just that next thing to get to just push you past your comfort zone. I also similarly would feel the same. I'm not a spiders girly. Here we have cockroaches, which I have no problem with, but I know a lot of people have fear of those. The
We
very
also have them here,
wonderful.
but we don't seem to get them in the house, which is nice.
Mhm.
That's nice. It's because y'all are clean.
Yeah.
We get
Okay.
we get millipedes and caterpillars dropping into our stuff.
Yes.
That's yeah.
They're quite large.
Those lizard spiders.
Size of my finger. They're big.
Oh,
But anyhow,
oh,
I'll
yeah.
take it.
So, Rama, how did you start traveling the world to teach yoga? And I know that that could be just like a whole podcast of its own, but I saw the lovely video that you have on your Instagram that's sort of a little bit of a background on your story. But what I'm curious about is, when did you start seeing that this is something that you wanted to do with your life? Because there's that moment where you're kind of dipping your toes in and you're getting a feel for it. And then at a certain point, I feel like you realize, like, wow, I'm going down this path and this is what I'm going to do. Can you talk to us a little bit about that journey?
Yeah, I suppose it was never necessarily a conscious choice, and it happened via request, if you will. I healed my body after an injury through yoga movement mindfulness and wanted to share that with other people. Started to just post things on social media more as a personal journal for what I was doing at the time. And requests started to come in for me to go and teach in other parts of the world. Now, kind of like Ness has said, with our current situation, that we've been traveling a lot, and the undertone in that statement is we wish that we were not traveling quite as much. So for me, I've actually never had the desire to go anywhere. I really have
Mm,
no interest in travel externally. It doesn't interest me, but I do have a purpose. And that purpose, I believe, is to share these techniques, tools for personal improvement with other people. And in order to do that, sometimes it means that I do need to travel. So it's kind of just spiraled from there. Everything needs to come back to adding value to the lives of other people. And I will do whatever I feel I need to do to move in that direction.
do you feel like you have a sort of a philosophy or a teaching mission, if you will, that you could sum up?
Sure. If I had to give you the most corporate cheesy tagline possible, I would say global impact through individual development.
Hmm.
We're
I love
trying to
that.
focus on just the one person. Like, of course, these days, programs that we run are very popular, and that's lovely. I'm very grateful for that. But when I was first starting out, it was always more a mindset of if I can just help one person, just add something for one person, perfect, my day's complete, I'm happy. And I think that we still carry that mindset over, even though our programs might be a little bit larger. With that as a foundation, the intimacy is maintained, I think.
Hmm. Yeah. This idea of global impact through impacting an individual is super powerful because I firmly believe that the way to change the world is to just change that which is right in front of you. And so that really resonates. And it's also interesting to me what you say about not necessarily having the desire to travel or the want to go out and to travel, but yet it happens. And I wanted to ask you both, what are your thoughts on how we are creating our realities? What's really at play here? I guess this is kind of like a fate versus free will question, if you want to take it that direction.
I'm usually a fan of it's somewhere in the middle, my answer to pretty much any question. So I think that we are born with a certain life path. a certain direction, a certain fate, you might say. Now, the degree to which we achieve that fate or fulfill our life's purpose is dependent on our striving, the action that we take.
Hmm.
So it's a bit of both, I think.
Yeah. What do you think, Ness?
I definitely have a very similar perspective on things. I've always been somebody, especially with my upbringing and things, to like, I believe that you make choices. And if you don't want something to look like it does, then you have to make the choice to change it because usually nobody else is going to do that for you. But with that, when you make choices, there are things that show up and that happen that, continue to solidify that you are either doing the right thing or doing the wrong thing, one or the other, red lights or green lights.
Yes.
So yeah, it's definitely a balancing act of the two. And you can also like based off of your choices, ignore all of the signs and then you just like dance circles around, that whole balance of the two.
Hmm. Yeah, you got the green lights tattoo. Can you tell us about just, yeah, you can
Yeah.
show it to us too. Tell us about that
So
too, because I think that goes with this conversation so well.
yeah, most definitely. I mean, yeah, to on theme with that, I grappled with like, could I possibly move to the island once I came for the first time, which was already very like big thinking for me. I feel like being somebody that didn't really have a whole lot of like very big dreams of things. Um, made the choice to do that. And it's wild the amount of things that have shown up that have kind of just been like, yep, you made the right decision. And down to the fact that, like, when I look outside of our balcony every night, I can see the green lights for the fishermen boats that are out on the ocean.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, just like looking for the little signs that they're there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Creation was like, you need some green lights. Here are some actual physical green lights for you. Yeah, I love that. I wonder if you can just Google and see that for folks who haven't seen it before. Or maybe I'll link a photo to it because I think that's just when you send me that photo, it gave me chills because I was like, yes, this is exactly it. Um, so speaking of creating together, so creating your reality and also creating content, I feel like is so I mean, you're creating the online reality, right? So I want to know what it's like for the two of you to be content creating together. I mean, how take us into this. Like who is the one who is more organized and, like let's get up, let's record this. Who's the distracting
That would be
one?
wrong. Yeah, Rob's has all of the organization. I bring really good vibes.
Good vibes. You also aid in the organization. I didn't know about adding links to an iPhone note. So my note taking before used to be just obscene, and you really helped streamline that. I didn't know you could add colors to an Apple Note, so they look very pretty now.
Aesthetic organization, I can help you with.
Yeah.
It's for certain. If you
Yeah.
wanted something to look pretty, yeah. But um,
Yeah, it's me.
creating together is one of my favorite things, that's for sure, especially being that
Mm.
I did spend like the majority of my time online doing it by myself, and not around people that were creating anything for online. And so like you and I also have spoken about this because it's nice to again talk to somebody who is also just like putting stuff out there and doing the same things and trying to
Yeah.
learn, how to evolve the whole process. And um, so that's been really special for me for sure to be able to share that with somebody. And also just having somebody that's like always encouraging me to be able to make the content. Like not only is he happy to be in content with me or make content together, but he helps me film, clips for my vlog. So they're from different perspectives and things. So it's been, yeah, a really, really big treat for me, I think, to be able to share that.
Yeah. I think for me to expand on that, having been in a few notable relationships before myself, they haven't necessarily seen content creation the way that I think you and I do. So for a lot of people, it's seems innately an activity that pulls you out of the present moment, that is
Mm.
distracting, that is not real, not authentic. This is usually what we hear. But when you can walk into that space together with someone else on the same page, the same playing field, it takes on a totally different dimension because we get to do all of these things from a place of presence, which has always been
Hmm.
how I try to approach the act of content creation. But for me, anyhow, it's just so nice and so refreshing to actually sit in that space with encouragement and appreciation, and it
Mm.
just flows so much better.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like you're both diving into that content creation process with presence and enjoying the process together. And yeah, that's something that I remember from spending time with you, Ness, too. That was refreshing. It's like, yeah, we're gonna spend time on content. Like, doesn't it sound fun? Like, let's
Yeah.
spend some time recording some
Yeah.
stuff. This is great. It's an art form, and I think that that speaks to what y'all have created. You can tell and you can feel that you're approaching it as an art form because it comes out like that. What is your creative process like? When do you feel most creative? Are you guys night owls? Are you morning people? What's the flow?
Probably a bit of a different dynamic, huh?
Yes, I would say we're both a little different.
You're pretty much like when it happens, it happens.
PhD. So like when the thought arises, you follow that or she's lost. So I've noticed for me that like mid-morning to like early afternoon is like prime time for me to like get after something. Regardless of what it is, it just seems to be a very productive time for me. So that will usually be, a
And
time that I'm creating.
I'd say when you get after it as well, there's like maybe you have an unmanifest idea that you're working with,
Yeah.
but I don't think I've ever seen something like planned out specifically, whereas I would be the exact opposite then.
Like full notes,
Yeah,
scripts,
like what I'm gonna say,
each frame is
the
going to like
overlay, just like trying to tell a story. And I think that we both kind of arrive in the same space, if you will, the act of like telling a story, adding value, sharing little bits and bobs about ourselves. But we definitely have a very right brain, left brain approach to the whole process.
because it brings balance to each other because I now use my notes app more than I ever did before. I
Mhm.
plan some things.
Not fooling.
I do.
I know. I'm kidding.
And he now will just like, I think you definitely film a little bit more frivolously than you used to,
I
which
do.
is
I'm
great
spontaneous.
because I am the biggest advocate for like, just chuck the phone up there and see what happens. People just want to see, regular stuff that you're doing. It doesn't always need to be perfectly curated. So yeah, I think very different, but we bring a good little balance to each other's methods.
I love this so much. Um, do you guys have any routines that you do feel like you stick to? And I mean, it doesn't need to be like every single day you do the exact same thing, but are there key routines that I don't know, you could give us insight. The one that comes to my mind is always coffee for you, Ness. I love just watching the coffees and just remembering like, yeah, this is the point. Get up, enjoy your coffee in the morning. But what are some other routines, rituals, things like that that y'all do?
Well, getting bitten by mosquitoes is one of them,
Yeah.
as Rama just bit in our home. But anyway, no. Actually, every single day since we started the habit, except for one singular day.
When we were sick.
Oh, and I'm lying. Also, when I was in Bali, but that's because I wasn't in the home. But anyway, lemon water.
Yeah.
Before coffee, lemon water, salt, and now we add collagen, not collagen, creatine.
Yeah.
I want to add collagen. That's where that comes from. But anyhow, and then coffee.
Like collagen too. Yeah, we definitely enjoy our morning beverages. I would say that's one of the first things. We wake up, you know, I love to lounge a little bit in the morning, which is not historic
Love.
thing that I have done. I think historically I've just jumped up, gone to do like a seated meditation practice and all of this kind of yogic shit. And now we just kind of like hang out, snuggle for a minute, brush our teeth, slumber on down the stairs, and make our morning beverages like a couple of bears. And I love that personally. Then we do a little bit of movement, come back up, shake the body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's
That's
so
about all.
interesting that you say that about lemon water because I don't always make lemon water, but this morning for some reason I was like, must make lemon water. So I had a lemon water before my coffee.
Love that.
What?
I now like
Yeah.
crave it. It's just it sets the tone for the day. That's for sure.
Yeah.
It really does.
I love it.
Yeah, it does. And I love that you're speaking to that in order, not everything is yoga, but there's yoga in everything. There can be yoga in the preparation and ritual of creating a beverage and sitting down and enjoying it fully. I mean, that's the point, right? That's
Yeah.
the
Correct.
what the teachings are pointing to.
I imagine that all of that effort done in the more classic yogic way for me for the last decade, it's kind of inserted itself into the wonderful, almost lazy little routines that we get to share together. The same amount of um, being present, of letting go of unnecessary thought. So it doesn't need to, your yoga doesn't need to look like just seated tall and cross-legged and all this kind of stuff. I think for me anyhow, I'm kind of moving away from that a little bit and just full-fledged enjoying my life with this beautiful creature.
Oh, I knew I was gonna smile a lot in this interview, but I can tell you that I'm like my cheeks are like really smiling this interview. Um, I want to speak to that and then we'll start to wrap up and I'll ask you guys some questions about leadership and we'll close out. But when a newer teacher or somebody newer to their yoga practice looks at you two and says, "Hey, that looks pretty good," right? That movement practice, that place that they're living, that relationship that they have, that this, looks really inspiring to me. What kind of advice do you give folks that are just earlier on in their journey? What things may you have discovered amongst all of this that, you could give a little piece of advice that they could follow?
Hmm.
It's a big, lofty one, I know.
I think for me, a little bit is like believe that you could for a second. Because if you don't even believe that you can, you never will for sure. And I know that a very large, significant amount of things in my life changed when I decided that, like, well, actually, maybe you could. Like, why not? So have a little bit of belief that you can, and you're a little closer than you were if you didn't think you could.
Yeah, that mindset is super important. Having the foundation of at least maybe I can. Yes, I can is great. Definitely not, it will never happen because then it probably won't. So that mindset foundation, key. And for me, because that does happen every now and again, where I'll have somebody reach out and they're super sincere and they're asking that very same question: how do I get to where you are? Um, People are such complex creatures. Like, honestly, how should I know
Yeah.
how you're going to get there? So the best that I can really do is say, focus on yourself. You
Hmm.
are the key, just you develop body, mind, emotions, energies so that you can move in the right direction. And beyond that, I can really only share what I've done, but I don't know that I'd call that necessarily like giving advice, like specific advice, not my area of expertise, probably because I'm an amateur in everything that I have done thus far. And it's worked out great, but at least for me, you are the foundation. I am the foundation.
Hmm.
As long as you can work on just this one piece of life and really hone that, things will slowly start to fall into place if you have that faith, that belief.
Yeah. Well, I'm hearing a beautiful indirect piece of advice that's actually very direct, which is that don't get caught up on exactly the path of how it happened for somebody else, because that can be incredibly distracting from seeing your own unique value and abilities. Thank you for sharing that. That's, yeah, both of those. And believe in yourself, because if not, yeah, I think a lot of times we don't catch ourselves as often as we actually do set these crazy limitations on ourselves, and we do close doors for ourselves without realizing it. And then we get there and we're pounding on the door like, why is it closed? I don't understand. Imagine that. So speaking of leadership, and this can be in the context of a yoga teacher, but it doesn't have to be necessarily. In your opinion, what are qualities of an exceptional leader?
You go first because I think my answer is quite similar to the first time I was asked.
Ah, exceptional leader. You have to be selfless. You have to
Mhm.
be others centric. Um, so I guess when you go back to high school, you have like all of these different colors of personality traits, whatever. I was leadership blue, so I think that I have from high school, from my early years, a little bit of leadership in me. And in a way, it's like now not so much, but before a little bit isolating or lonely. Like I used to think and fully believe that my life is not mine, but belongs to all those that might benefit through the sharing of my unique skill set. Everybody has a unique skill set. And so a leader says, what do I have access to? And how can I utilize that to move others in the direction that they want to go? If you have a leader that is self centered, focused more on this one being, it's a recipe for disaster. And I suppose you could be an effective leader, meaning you move people in either direction, being selfish or selfless, but to be a good one for me,
Mhm.
selflessness.
Yeah, for me, and I think I would like to rephrase from like, I think this makes a great leader, but rather a leader that I resonate with is usually one that is able to, and I said this was my answer the first time, but I don't know that I understood why it was my answer, which was when they're able to ask more questions necessarily than giving responses. And I think it's just because for me, a really good leader is somebody that can recognize that they can have all of this information and still not have any of the answers. Um, and I don't know, I find a lot of value in somebody that can, give me as much information as they possibly can, but at the same time can be like, but I don't know everything. And like, could be this, or I don't know. But that element in a leader is something that I look up to, that I like. I cannot hear you.
I muted my microphone. This is like, I've never even done that before. Any possible crazy thing in this recording that could happen is happening. It was in the little red mode. Okay. What I was gonna say is that um, I do think that whenever I feel wary of when leaders don't necessarily have that awareness of, they're giving all of the answers, and really pushing in a particular direction without leaving room for the questioning. I think that that always that kind of is off, is, unsettling for many reasons, because you don't know if it's coming from a place of selflessness or if it's coming from a place of let me move the herd of humanity in the direction that I would like to see them going. Okay, so this is the wrap up question. This is the final question that we have, and it's the billboard message. It's a question that I've asked on every single interview since the very beginning. And the idea of it is that, and I'll ask you individually, but if you had a billboard that was going to be seen by everybody in the world, what would you put on that billboard? It could be a quote, a mantra, something that you live by. It doesn't even have to be words if you don't want it to be, but in terms of like the ultimate platform, the message that would be shown to everybody on the billboard, what would you want to put on your billboard?
It's for other people, it's not for me.
Correct.
Okay. So not a picture of you.
It's for the world.
For the world. Do you want to go first?
No.
Okay. But mine's very simple. 4 words, I guess. Just be good, do good.
Hmm.
Okay.
Be good, do
And a
good.
photo of Ness.
And a photo of Ness, because she is being good and she is doing good. Mostly.
Uh, well, I think mine's also quite cliche. And I'm changing it because I had the same one 2 times in a row. I think I maybe added an extra, which is follow the green lights, which now, if you guys are here, you've heard this come out of my mouth a million times. So I think it'd be something very cliche, like do more of what makes you happy.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think a lot of really great things can happen when you do more of the things that fill you up, and you're able to show up for people a lot differently when you're able to do that from a full place.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys for sharing a little bit of your evening with me and with all of us listening today. And I guess we do always end with a wrap up emoji. So I'll ask you what your favorite emoji is in just a second. But first, where can people find you? You know, what upcoming retreats and things like that do you have where people can practice with you?
I'll let the organized one take it over.
Well, we're obviously on Instagram. From Instagram, you can find the website, subscribe to the newsletter, and pretty much all of the platforms. You'll find mention of our upcoming retreats, international workshops, even online courses and content that we're constantly putting out. Everything from like big 5 course bundles on flexibility workshops, flexibility classes, to handstand specific training, to me having lived for a number of years in an ashram as well. Stuff like Sanskrit, learning how to
Mm,
utilize mantra and sacred sound. That's a great deal of things that we have online. So if you are somebody who has the capacity to learn via videos, we have a lot of resources that might be able to help. I think that's pretty much it.
Yep, that's all. Instagram.
beautiful. So, what's your favorite emoji? This one has to be just one if you had to choose together.
We get to choose it together. The hugging one, the little gray one where it's a hug.
Okay, yes, the gray hugging one, not
If we had
the
to choose it together.
not the smiley hugging one.
What? Smiley hugging.
Yeah, the smiling hug. It's got its arms out.
Oh no, that guy's like
No, the gray.
He's super happy about stuff.
Like the hug, but yeah.
Okay.
The gray hug. Drop the gray hugging emoji in the comment section if you are listening on Spotify. And we'll catch you in the next episode. Ness and Rama, I hope to practice with you all soon in person.
Thanks for having us.
Bye. If you enjoyed this episode of the Leadership in Yoga podcast, please take a moment to drop me a rating and subscribe. Also, if you're able to share this podcast with the world, it is greatly appreciated. Thank you.